Hi there and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the fuel lines on your Echo grass trimmer. So this is the trimmer we'll be replacing the line. It's an Echo GT 1100. This procedure will also apply to many other Echo trimmers as they have the same fuel lines and grommet on the fuel tank. To start with, you're going to want to remove the air filter. Just simply push down and remove this plastic cover. Take off the foam filter. Next thing to remove are the two screws here, either with a Phillips screwdriver or a flat screwdriver. Pull them right out. Now at this point here on top of the carb, you're going to want to remove the throttle cable, so simply push out like that and the cable is going to come off. Now all you've got left holding the carb are the fuel lines, the two fuel lines. This one here is a vent. So you may want to take a picture of where these lines go, just so that when you put it back together, you put them in the exact same spot. And when I take the cap off here, I'm going to find out which line here has the fuel filter. Also, before you start to do this job, you may want to empty out your fuel tank. Also, this cover here that was on the carb here came off, so just put that aside. Don't lose the little O-ring that goes here. Now the next thing I'm going to do is retrieve the fuel filter from the tank, and you may want to grab a wire and twist the end like that, just so that you can go in and scoop up the fuel line with the filter. I'm going to insert my wire in the fuel tank and scoop up the line with the filter. So the black line is the one with the fuel filter at the end. Now since we're replacing the line completely, you can snip it at the bottom here. Now you can pull up on the lines. This line here just basically goes down a little wee bit. That's for the primer. And the black line, now you can pull it out. Just like that. Now examine the grommet here to make sure it's not cracked. If it's all cracked and brittle, you will have to replace it by popping it off the tank. The line that I'm going to use for this is 7/64 inside diameter and 7/32 outside diameter. It's a gray line like this. You can also use the clear Tygon. And now what I'm going to do is measure the black line and cut that to fit. Now just remove the old line on the filter. When we reinsert the fuel line that connects to the filter, first of all, I'm going to spray a bit of liquid wrench down on the grommet holes and a bit on the line. It's going to make it easier to shove the line in. Make sure the line goes in tight in the grommet, or else you're going to have a leak. I'm going to shove it down pretty far, then grab it with my hook. Also, it helps if you cut the line on an angle like this before you insert it into the grommet. Now once you've got the line out far enough, just cut it flat. Then insert the little clip. And now install the fuel filter. Make sure the washer's there if you have that type of filter. If you have this little clip, insert it onto the line over here. Now reinsert your filter in the tank, and then you just have to adjust the fuel line as you need when the carb's back on. Next, remove the other fuel line. Now for this other line, I'm going to use a line that is 3/32 inside diameter and 3/16 outside diameter. And I'll just measure it to fit and cut it. And I'm going to cut one end on an angle like this, just to make it easier to insert into the grommet. I'm just going to spray the end of my line with a bit of liquid wrench to lube it. Then I'm going to insert it into the other hole. Only stick it in about 3/4 of an inch for now. We can always adjust it later. Now the third line is just a vent for the fuel tank here. So if you pull this out, it's just going to be a short hose like this. So the line on the breather tube I'm going to replace with the same line I used over here, which is a 3/32 inside diameter by 3/16 3/16 outside diameter. So again, cut your line on an angle, and you can spray the grommet again with some liquid wrench to lube it. Now insert the side of the line with the angle into the grommet and push it in about 3/4 of an inch. Then insert the breather tube at the end of the line. So now it's time to put the carb back on. Make sure your gasket here is good and make sure all the lines are nice and snug in the grommet there. So I'm going to start by rehooking the fuel lines. Now this gray line here that has the filter in the tank on goes on this connector here. Push it in all the way here. Now this one goes on that connector. So make sure your lines are pushed up all the way like this. Now we're going to rehook the throttle cable. Make sure that the side of the mechanism here with the little hole is pointing this way toward the screw. Now grab your throttle cable, insert it, and right into this mechanism here. Now insert this cover over here. Make sure that the O-ring is still on your carb here. Insert that like that. Now you want to insert these screws here. And you're going to see them come out this way, and they're going to bolt onto the adapter here. Also make sure your gasket inside here is lined up properly. You want to tighten up these screws evenly. Don't tighten one up real tight than the other. The reason why you want to switch back and forth is to get the carburetor put on nice and even so you don't have any air leaks. Now just finish putting on the last things like the gas cap and the air filter, and you're all done. Next, for the air filter cover, put this side down with the hinges. It will click on the bottom here. Just flip it over and click it in. So I'm sure anybody watching this will be able to do it. So now I'll fuel it up and try it out, see if it works. So I'll prime it a bit, choke it. Anyways, it runs pretty good. It's nice. Now if you replace all the fuel lines and you notice you still have a fuel leak, you may have to replace this little breather mechanism up here. This is what it looks like. So get a brand new one. They're under 10 bucks, and sometimes they do leak when you're shot. When you're all done, make sure you have no fuel leaks around the grommet, the connectors, and so forth. And this breather mechanism stores itself in this groove. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in my next videos. Take care.